Hello, my name is Izzy, and thanks for stopping by. So, you already know how aimless The Sims 4 can feel without any mods or packs. I mean, like, The Sims' wants, fears, and life events often lack weight, and it always relies on you to fill in the blanks with your imagination. Personally, I grow most attached to Sims whose character and actions prompt the unraveling outcomes, which brings a lot of chaos to my game. So I got some tips that can make your gameplay feel alive and also chaotic. Let's go! Starting with traits and character. Treating your Sims the same way makes playing them repetitive, and it causes this disconnect that makes it easy to get bored. What I like to do here is let my Sims' traits influence the actions that I cue. Would my lazy Sim really take the time to cook, or just go for a quick meal? This is an example of setting certain restrictions, such as a neat Sim who can't leave the house until it's all clean. Have a materialistic Sim spend 70% of their paycheck regardless of bills. Or a romantic Sim who just needs to flirt with everyone they're introduced to. These little habits make it so your Sims feel like they have their own individual sense of gameplay to keep things interesting. The next I want to talk about is aspirations and fulfillment. Aspiration should be the Sims' main drive behind their exploration. It's what they want in order to feel fulfilled. Therefore, there should be a greater effect when you do or don't work toward their life goals. Give your Sims a deadline to meet a certain whim or milestone. If you complete a milestone, reward your Sims based on their satisfaction. A soulmate-driven Sim who just married could be given a week-long honeymoon free of charge. A computer whiz who earns 5,000 simoleons from game tournaments could be given the ultimate gaming setup. However, if you miss a deadline, you must punish your Sims. If your Sim has the bodybuilder aspiration and they don't even make it through basic trainer, make them gain weight. If a mansion baron's home isn't worth enough simoleons, move them into a worse house. If you really want to make life harder for yourself, try limiting your Sims to only work on their goals if they have an actual whim for it. Have a painter extraordinaire paint only if they desire to. When they stop, you can only make them continue when they have the whim again. Aspirations will always be optional, and if completing them isn't how you personally play The Sims, that's totally fine. I just think it could be fun to give my Sim a certain direction that drives them while getting caught in chaos along the way. Time to dive into fears and projections. While most fears clear us from danger, there are also fears that can cause us to act pretty irrationally, and I don't mean like this. I don't know about you people, but my favorite way of playing my Sims is with delusion and self-sabotage. Make your Sims project their fears into utter hypocrisy. Does your Sim fear that their partner is cheating? Well, why don't you take them to the club so they can spitefully flirt with the first stranger they see? Is your Sim afraid of being judged? Well, they should use gossip to feel above everybody else. Fear of being stuck in a dead-end job? Time to quit and give in to all of your Sims' stupidest desires that you have been putting off. But what else do fears do? They limit us. And to an extent, they should limit your Sims as well. If your Sim has a fear of cowplants, they would probably go nowhere near a garden. Sims who fear intimacy are more likely to ghost potential love interests or cancel dates in the last minute. Conquering fears takes time, work, and a lot of mistakes. So we might as well play them out while we're here. This is now a good time to segue into their sanity and impulse. Since I'm a baby, I did not play The Sims 2, but I was always intrigued by its gameplay whenever their Sims went insane if they faced too many failures. Maybe I just like the idea of descending into madness, since that's what I do on a daily basis, but we should bring those consequences back just after all the drama that you put your Sims through. Like, don't try to fix their negative emotions through cheats or potions. Don't try to make them be nice to everyone while they're still tense, angry, or sad. If you want to aid them in their mental health, try organizing a self-care day. Act on one of their whims, surround them with loved ones, maybe even give them a makeover, just to make them feel like a different person. But for those who want to let their Sims suffer a little bit, like me, isolate them for a week. Downgrade items in their house. I have a custom Wheel of Doom that I like to spin every now and then, mostly when my Sim goes through some major life event, good or bad. A few examples of this is my Sim staying caffeinated for a day, pretty much getting insomnia after not getting promoted at his job. A really bad one is resetting their highest skill level if they lose all motivation. Other times, it's when one of them calls their ex or ends up woohooing with an enemy. These are rather extreme scenarios, however, the level of instability your sim is put under is entirely up to you. Now it's time for townies and connections. I like to go through the pros and cons of the townies I want to mess with. The sims you have as your neighbors should have some role in your sim's experience within that neighborhood. For example, if you live near the calientes, maybe they're more likely to flirt with your sim or their spouse. While having the pancakes as neighbors could mean frequent visits from Eliza, since I believe she'd be quite nosy. But it doesn't have to stop there, as there could be spiraling effects to the relationships you have. Like if your sim decides to pick on Alexander Goff, their reputation might take a harder hit since he comes from a family of prestige. Or if you become friends with the Landgrabs, perhaps they'll lower your rent. Please Nancy, show me mercy, I have 2 kids to feed. This is probably more of a storytelling tip, since it involves whatever headcanons you personally have for The Sims 4 townies, though I find it interesting to diversify the kinds of relationships my sims have, depending on how they know each other, how they're influenced, and how it affects the world they interact with. Let's say your sim meets someone from the park. They're both moms whose kids happen to be friends already, so they're able to talk about playdates and family affairs. It would probably be a different kind of friendship than your sim being in a bar, drinking with a single sim while he vents about his love life. But then, maybe you find out your fellow mom friend is actually a widow and trying to get back into the dating scene. You could hook her up with that other friend at the bar and then you get an invitation to their wedding in that year. But wait, there's more variables to consider, like if her kid resents you for giving them a stepdad they didn't want, which could affect their friendship with your child. Or if your guy friend's crazy ex came out of nowhere, and now your close friends have to move away for their safety. Now when you're doing your rotational gameplay, you can see those sims in whatever world you're in, and they feel more significant in a way. Like, you just influence their story without even controlling them. Who knows? Maybe they are the strings that connect one of your playable sims with another. So that brings us to the end of the video. I know it's been about a year since I've uploaded, and I swear this is not going to be a summer exclusive channel. I've just been caught up with life in general, but I do want to continue making videos just because it's fun and it's an excuse to play more of my favorite game. I hope these tips were helpful and brought something new to your gameplay. Thanks for watching again. Bye bye!